So I found this old dresser on Facebook Marketplace. I love the overall look and I knew I wanted to keep some of the wood features. Here are the materials that I used for this flip. These are the tools that you'll use for this flip. The paint color I used for this flip is Odessa by Chippy Barn. It is a very dark black. And the paint brushes I used was a Palm Pro from Zebra and then this little painter's brush from Hobby Lobby. The pine trim that I'm using, I got it at Home Depot. For small projects, I use this handsaw with this miter box. For this project, I'm only doing straight cuts, so this is a perfect thing to have on hand when you're just doing small cuts on pine trim. So for this project, I knew I wanted a very minimalist look, so I just measured the length of the dresser drawers and made my cuts accordingly. After I cut all my pieces, I used a sanding block. I started with a thicker grit and then worked my way up, but just make sure you get all the edges and the ends because that's what you're gonna see on your piece. Also, sanding it will help the paint adhere. Next, I painted each strip of the pine trim. I wanted to do this off the piece so I could really make sure I got the edges without painting the drawer fronts because I wanted to keep the wooden look. I used a nail gun for this piece to attach the pine trim, but you can use liquid nails as well, and then you don't have to fill the holes after. But this is the setup I used for this piece. This is the wood filler I used to fill all the little holes that were left from the nails. Then I took a very fine grit sandpaper and sanded all the little tops where the wood filler was to make it a smooth finish. I then used painter's tape and put it on each side of the piece of trim just in case any paint filling the holes wouldn't get on the wood. I used my small painter's brush and then I did about 3 coats. Just a little note before this step, I pre-drilled my hardware holes just so everything already was finished so I didn't have to go back and do another step and more paint if I scratched it. Just a little trick I do with new hardware is that I always use the pre-existing hole from the previous hardware and then I just measure out to that new spot. For this piece, I knew I wanted the top drawer to be the solid black color to really make it pop. And I did about 3 coats as well for this. I painted each side of the dresser to really complement the black trim and then the black drawer. I also did this because the veneer was heavily scratched and it just kind of covered all that up. I did 3 coats on all sides of the dresser. Just a little tip, while painting, try to do long, even strokes because then that'll make the paint look really smooth. So I got my hardware on Etsy. These were the ones that I decided on and I went with the black color. I really wanted them to blend in with the pine trim. To seal the paint on the piece, I went with this hemp seed oil from Dixie Belle, and then I used a microfiber cloth. When applying the oil, a little goes a long way, and I always do it in a circular motion, almost like buffing it into the piece. I put this on all the painted sections of the piece, and then I went back later with another microfiber rag to really buff it out. For all the wood and inside of the drawers, I used feed and wax. And here is the final look. Just some simple tricks to really get that expensive modern look. Click below to subscribe to follow me for more furniture redesign tips.